It's your first kiss, and several questions might come to mind. What's it like to kiss another human being? Is it the right time? Is anyone watching? Does your partner even want to? Is your breath fresh? And should you use some tongue? And then you say, "What the heck?" And you just go for it. That's what I could not explain to you with words. This must be a second or third child, because the mother did not grab her child, rather she grabbed the camera. Usually when we ask, "What's it like?" we can experiment, or we can try, or we can experience a situation. What's it like to run a marathon? Well, all you have to do is train and train and train. And I don't think you can be totally right up here, but anyways, but then you just say, "I'm going to run it," and you have that full experience of running a marathon. Now, this is more fun from my point of view. What's it like to eat at a 5-star restaurant? You go to Steinhibler's or Bird and Baldwin or some other fancy restaurant that you like, and all you have to do is save your pennies or ask someone that has a lot of money to buy your dinner for you, and you will have that experience of what it's like to eat at a fine restaurant. What's it like to take a disciple Bible study? All you have to do is go into the social hall and talk to the people, and they can tell you about what you're going to be studying and about the meeting time, and then you have to make that commitment, and you would know what it's like to take a disciple course. Today's topic, though, is a little different, because we can't experience the topic heaven while here on earth. It's just humanly impossible. Oh, but there have been many songs written about heaven. Do you recall Bob Dylan singing "Knock, Knock, Knockin' on Heaven's Door"? Anyone remember that? Oh, cool, cool. So apparently, according to the song, heaven must have a door. We just sang, when we all get to heaven, what a day of rejoicing that will be. When we all see Jesus, we'll sing and shout the victory. In John's Gospel, we learn this about heaven. Jesus says, "In my Father's house, there are many rooms." So now we know that heaven has lots of rooms, doors, and we're all going to be there. Cool. It does sound like a party. In the parable that I just shared with you, called the wedding banquet, Jesus continues to teach us a little bit about heaven. And he said, heaven is going to kind of be like this. A king, maybe God, is preparing this huge celebration for his son, maybe Jesus. The host sends out his servants to those on the guest list. The servants personally invite these folks to come and party, come to the celebration. Now, the people on the king's guest list, his friends, his neighbors, his co-workers, his supporters, all refused to come to the function. Rats, thinks the king. This is kind of odd. All the people that I hang out with, all the people that are my friends, all the people that I do things with and I have things in common, none of them want to come to the celebration. So not to be defeated, the king goes and uses plan B. This time he sends out some different servants, and they have a new message. Dinner, because you know all of us are attracted to food. Dinner is ready, boys and girls. I have brought out the best beef, the finest china, and I have had my chefs make the very best desserts humanly possible. And all that I am missing is your presence at my table. Even with this second invitation, the king's friends refused to pay any attention. The scriptures tell us that one went to his field and another went back to his business. And then the weirdest thing happened. Some of the king's friends took matters into their own hands, and for whatever reason, the king's friends mistreated the servants and even killed some of the servants. Well, word got back to the king, and this time he sent out his soldiers to destroy the murderers. But do you sense the predicament? The real predicament that the king is in. He is ready to throw this huge party for his son. And there's no one there. It's his son's wedding day. The food is cooked, the band is there, the DJ is ready to play some songs. But not one single guest is there in that banquet hall. The Bible states, those I invited did not deserve to come. And then the king had another idea. He sent his servants out into the streets, and they gathered up everyone that they could find. It wasn't the king's friends. It wasn't the king's individuals that he hung out with at the club. It wasn't his co-workers. It was just anyone and everyone that they could find there in the streets. Both good and bad, rich and poor, black and white, clean and dirty, employed and unemployed or underemployed. And the wedding hall was filled. So heaven must be like, there's a lot of people there. Many will be invited. And in the scriptures later we hear, but few are chosen. God does the inviting, and God does the choosing. How often, and just be honest to yourself secretly, how often in our heart of hearts do we think that we know the people that are going to heaven? Oh, there's no way that that person's going to heaven. How often do we say that we believe we are the ones that we will know who will be there with us? Frederick Buechner, a theologian, in his book Telling the Truth, he writes some remarkable words about the parable of the wedding banquet, and I'd like to share them with you. God is the eccentric host who, when the country club crowd all turn out to have other things more important to come and live it up with him, goes out into the skid rows and soup kitchens and charity wards, and he brings home a freak show. The man with no legs who sells shoelaces at the corner. The old woman in the moth-eaten fur coat who makes her daily rounds of the garbage cans. The old wino with his pint in a brown paper bag. The pusher, the hooker, the village idiot who stands there at the blinker light waving his hands as the cars go by. They are all seated there at the damask-laid table in the great hall. The candles are all lit and the champagne glasses are all filled. At a sign from the host, the